One WWE superstar might be coming back, another one might not be coming back, and we're also going to talk about some AEW stars who have some major announcements coming soon. It's all coming up right here on The Ango Show. All right, y'all, I want to kick things off with some AEW news. FTR dropped some very, very big stuff today. So despite PW Insider's report that FTR is under long-term deals, we have been talking about FTR saying that's not necessarily true and their contract status is yet to change, and that FTR was like, they didn't have a different contract compared to what was being reported. Now, are they working the crowd? What's actually being said? What's actually being done? That's a whole different thing. On Twitter, Dax Harwood doubled down on FTR's contract situation and said that he and Cash have reached a decision. He said he just got off the phone with Cash. We've decided what we're going to do come April. Nothing is official yet, so legally can't speak on it. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll let our fans know. We owe it to y'all for the opportunities and we have in front of us. Love y'all. So here's the thing. I want to make this very clear. FTR has already said that they wouldn't work their fans and stuff like that, which I think is very realistic. I think whatever report PW Insider came out with that we spoke about before, I think maybe it could be, this could be a variety of things, man. I mean, who really knows what is actually going on here? I think sometimes there's these reports that come out and it's just maybe not the most accurate information, or maybe it is incredibly accurate, but the wrestlers themselves are trying to work people. I mean, there's always two sides to every story. So obviously PW Insider has said their side, which was, Dax and Cash were under long-term deals. FTR has said no, like they are still on the same contract. Their deal ends in April. I think realistically, they're probably going to stay in AEW just based on some of the things that have been said on Dax's podcast. However, anything could happen. Nothing will surprise me. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated along the way. So just kind of keep that in mind as time goes on. This could be a situation where maybe FTR signs a short-term deal with AEW to stay. Maybe this is something where they go completely on a break from television, come back a couple months later for AEW, or perhaps this could be a situation where they do go to WWE, or maybe they go to New Japan, whatever it may be. All right, guys, one wrestler that's not expected to be back on television anytime soon. Yeah, we are talking about Matt Riddle. Speaking of, just big things that are happening in wrestling, the Matt Riddle situation is a very funny one. It was noted that there has been nothing new about WWE's status with Riddle. Now, keep in mind, Riddle was under a hiatus in the last several months. It was reported that he failed a drug test that led to a suspension, which was his second time. That happened in late 2022, and then it was reported that he was sent to rehab in December. Now, the thing is, I've always maintained this idea on this channel that when it comes to wrestlers' personal health, it comes way before wrestling. It comes way before work. And that's not just wrestling. I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with my vision for life, right? A human being's got to put their life before work. They got to put their health before work. They got to do all of that before work. Now, Riddle's in a very interesting situation, though, because there's been no mention of bringing Matt Riddle back. And from what it looks like, it sounds like he's no longer in rehab. So it looks like his career in WWE is currently in limbo, which if you're the WWE, and this is what gets really, really interesting, if you're the WWE, where do you even put Riddle on the card right now? You have so many people you're trying to push. You have so many people you're trying to utilize every single week in some sort of meaningful storylines. I mean, if you look at WWE and look at Legado del Fantasma, for example, they're used consistently every single week. Karrion Kross is used every single week. You have Chad Gable and Otis being used every single week. You have so many people being used consistently on a week-to-week basis. Now, I'm not talking about big push, little push. I'm talking about people are being used every single week, right? Now, when I say people are being used every single week, that means every single week you are seeing the same faces on Raw or SmackDown. Now, Matt Riddle coming back to WWE pulls one of those people away from, television time. So ultimately, what's going on with Matt Riddle? Where does WWE see Matt Riddle? At one point, there was plans for Matt Riddle to potentially win Money in the Bank. There was reported plans for him to potentially become, WWE champion. I mean, there was a lot of things that were kind of reported. So whether those reports were accurate or not, it's hard to say. But it sounded like for a while there was some really high hopes for this guy in WWE. I want, first of all, I want his personal health to be better. I want, like, whatever is going on, whatever led to, like, that downward thing, that was reported. Like, I just don't want that to be an issue for anybody. There's so many other wrestlers historically who have kind of gone through the same situation, and you don't want that on anybody. So that always comes first, then wrestling. But hopefully everything works out in the end. Guys, we got to talk a little bit about Randy Orton because he was Matt Riddle's partner. And unlike Matt Riddle, it sounds like WWE is talking about Randy Orton's return. So according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider Elite, he says that there have been some rumblings about Randy Orton internally within the last week or so, where there hadn't been any discussion about him internally for some time. So this new report about Randy Orton, having rumblings about him, indicates to me that there is a good chance that WWE could potentially be working on bringing Randy Orton back. Now, a couple months ago, we saw a photo of Randy Orton. He looked healthy. He looked jacked. I mean, keep in mind, this was a guy that for a really long time, too, people were saying that Randy Orton was probably not going to return to wrestling because of his injury, because of the surgeries and stuff like that. Randy Orton is one of those guys, man, where you can just tell, like, he can go to WWE right now and completely elevate the show. There's a lot of stuff that they have potential with Cody Rhodes now that Cody is back as well. There's a lot of potential with Roman and the Bloodline if you want to get him involved in there. There's also a lot of potential if you really want, and it would make sense, right? You can do something with Randy Orton and Seth Rollins again. I mean, there is so many things. You have Gunther, you have Sheamus, you have Drew McIntyre. You have a very stacked mid-card. There's talent, let's just face it. Randy Orton's not going to be wrestling in the WWE for the next 20 years. There's some guys who might be wrestling in the WWE for the next 20 years. Maybe have Randy Orton in one of those big feuds, too, to elevate some talent. I'm just saying there's a lot of good things that could be done with Randy Orton. I think WWE will be better with Randy Orton back if Randy Orton is, in fact, coming to the company again. I'm excited to see how things go down. Personally, I think right now WWE is in a good spot going into WrestleMania. People are being utilized. Things could improve, obviously. I've said that before. Things could definitely improve. But I think WWE has been pretty good and pretty active about making sure there's storylines, there's people wrestling on TV, matches are getting time, things are happening logically, big teases. I'm excited to see what happens. Also, I know there's been a lot of rumors about LA Knight and Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. If for some reason Stone Cold Steve Austin can't be at WrestleMania, in the event that he can't, and Randy Orton can, I would love for LA Knight to drop a promo at WrestleMania only to be interrupted by Randy Orton, hit an RKO out of nowhere. Something like that could be really cool too. So there's a lot of cool things that WWE can do, but Randy Orton coming back sounds pretty likely. Matt Riddle not coming back also sounds pretty likely. And hey, FTR is going to be deciding something in the near future. So I'll keep you guys updated along the way. Make sure you click subscribe. Happy Sunday. Thank you for watching today's video.